Hi, people. I thought about talking on nationalism. I feel that nationalism is something that should be discussed, and there are a few things, in my opinion, that needs to be brought into perspective when talking or thinking about nationalism. And in building that understanding, history plays a significant role. So I feel that some of the historical examples are best examples to discuss. And one of the reference I feel that should be discussed is about Roman Empire. That Roman Empire was one of the significant empires in recent in the relatively modern history of humanity and the world. And I think Roman Empire succeeded due to multiple factors. Of course, initially it had polytheism, later on it converted into monotheism, accepting a common religion. But apart from that, there were many unifying factors like language, literature, and of course it had a successful ruling legacy. But in general, there were values and factors with which people in general in Roman Empire identified themselves with, and that's why it was more or less unified. As opposed to that, I feel another significant example of history is that of Alexander and the conquest of Alexander. He succeeded, he was, of course, a brave warrior. He succeeded in conquering kingdoms which were very prosperous back then in that specific region. He succeeded in conquering Egypt, Asia Minor, Persia, and of course he almost succeeded in conquering Indus Valley. But however, his legacy was very weak. We do not recognize any kingdom as an Alexandrian kingdom or an empire by Alexander, simply because he did not succeed in unifying. So I do feel that there are factors that help people or help any particular ideology last much longer. Like if we look at today's Europe, Europe does identify its roots in some of the earliest Roman ideologies, and that's why I think it's very significant. Um, if we look at examples in India, Mauryan Empire is one of the best examples, which is more or less contemporary in terms of Roman Empire or Alexander's kingdom. Mauryan Empire, the two key personnel were of course Chanakya and Chandragupta, and they succeeded in unifying the whole of India. Of course, there were kingdoms, very rich and prosperous kingdoms, that would have not otherwise given into a bigger, larger empire vision, but they did give into it. They had multiple cultural practices, they had diverse languages, but in general, they had a non-violent lifestyle and and common spiritual practices. But of course, there would have been some factors with which they would have been able to relate in order to help create this bigger, larger, unified India. And the most recent example, if we look at, would be that of modern India. Of course, after the British left India, if the princely kingdoms came into existence, there would have been about 550 or so smaller kingdoms, and the survival of those kingdoms would have been impossible. But however, to make them give in to a bigger, larger Republican India or modern India as we know was equally difficult. Even Gandhiji accepted that apart from Sardar Patel, it was impossible to really unify India the way it would have been more secure and successful for its long term security. But he succeeded, and I think mostly he succeeded because he invoked that feeling of patriotism amongst those princely heads, that we should look towards a unified India, and of course that would be much more good for those kingdoms for, to protect them against internal or external forces, and that's why India resulted the way it is. But however, I do feel that there are certain factors that apart from just patriotism, helped recognizing India as an ideology. And I think there was a unifying thread. And that unifying thread, in my understanding, are some of the three significant factors. First one, I feel, that is that we respect people. We have respect towards each other's belief. We respect individuals, even if we disagree with them completely. And of course, generosity is never can never exist without respect. So we are generous. We are inherently generous towards other people because there is a deep down respect towards them, and of course we care because of the same reason. And weird as it may sound, but sometimes our care can even border to gossiping, but we do care about people, and that's very significant too. Second thing, in my opinion, is that is very significant in creating this ideology is that we seek knowledge, we seek truth, we question our own beliefs, we are introspective, and even if it's like questioning our whole system, we do it. We do it at the cost of anything. And at the same time, we value education. Simply because we value knowledge, we value education as well. Education is considered very is revered, I would say, as such. And the other thing is that we try to seek our own biases. We question our own biases. We introspect whether our bias is really um, mm, improper. What are the bases of our bias? And I think that is very significant, and it's common all throughout India. It is very common whether to whichever part you belong to. And thirdly, I feel the last but not the least, and the most significant factor which binds pretty much the whole of India is that we are optimistic about India in general, India's identity. We might be having a gazillion issues that we might be concerned about. We might feel pessimistic every now and then, but overall, we are optimistic about India's future. And I think that is a very unifying factor. It's a very a factor that we can feel happy about or proud about. Secondly, the factor of karma. It's embedded within us that hard work has to precede success. We want, and if we feel that our success is out of proportion with our hard work, somehow or the other it does bite our conscience. And as a part of the collective consciousness that somehow or the other all of us have within us is the factor of patience and tolerance. Is that like that eternal saying that goes or is universal amongst us is about जो भी होता है अच्छे के लिए होता है, and it's very significant. You and I, all of us, whether consciously or unconsciously, have subscribed to that feeling. And I think these three factors, in my opinion, are very significant factors in unifying us as Indians. Apart from, of course, our national flag, our nationality, our subscription towards our values of the Constitution. And these have been the factors of in the past and remain today and will continue in helping India recognizing the way it is recognized. So yeah, this is my understanding of nationalism. If you like, if you dislike, if you agree, if you disagree, please feel free to share your comments and to listen more and share more and discuss more. Please feel free to subscribe, and do subscribe so that we can continue this video session further. Thank you for your time.